guys, welcome to my first video of my first vlogging series. I am dubbing it as the Journey of Bryn. This is going to be a vlogging documentary journal diary of me getting back into heavy fighting in the SCA. If you don't know what the SCA is, you can go to sca.org. or you can look on YouTube or Google. But I kind of figured, you know, why not add more to it? I used to do a blog way back when I started fighting, you know, and I only did a few entries and it felt really good. It felt really good to get my thoughts out, you know, just kind of get my experiences out there, and it helped me kind of think through some of the problems I was having. And I feel like, or at least I was told, that it did resonate with quite a few people. So I figured, why not, you know, we go into vlogging. I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of digest and listen to than reading a blog. So this is the very first video. So what the heck am I gonna talk about? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, I wrote out a bunch of ideas. I wrote out a bunch of like scripts. I wrote out a bunch of framework. Like, this has been a project I've been thinking about and planning and formulating for months now, right? For a while now. And today I gave myself a huge anxiety attack because I was like, oh my God, I told my editor that I would film this video today and I don't want to. You know, I thought of 1,000 other things I'd rather be doing, like napping, worried that I'd have nothing to talk about, worried that I just didn't know what to talk about, or that I would say something wrong or something be taken out of context, or you know what I mean? Like, my brain was just going, and I was getting upset about that. And then, you know, the other half of me, you know, there's two wolves at war within every person. The other wolf in me was like, but like, this is something like you're really excited about, really passionate about, something that you really want to do, like really want to do. I had a good cry, touched up my makeup, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna talk. You know, what's the worst thing can happen? I delete the video and then decide that this isn't my project. Fine. So here I am. Yay, high five, go me. My vlogging journey idea plan is pretty much exactly how my fighting journey is going, right? So I started fighting. Actually, I was squired this day 7 years ago. Thank you, Facebook memories. I was squired this day 7 years ago. You know, and I fought around, I think like it was like 2 years. And then I moved across the country, and then COVID happened. Finally, I've just moved back to the East Coast. I'm with East Kingdom in Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania, Jersey, like I'm like right on the border. I moved back and I'm like, you know what? I really want to get back into fighting. This is the perfect time to do it. So let's go, right? Like, I still have my armor, I still have my friends, I still have my knight, I still have my contacts. And it was like time never passed, right? You know, people were like, oh my God, how are you? We missed you. But like, we all picked up being friends in conversations like we saw each other last month, which we didn't. It's been, you know, 4, 5, 6 years that I've seen some of these people. So, you know, that was kind of a huge relief, you know, coming back and like, you know, seeing the people that you love, and that makes these events enjoyable, you know, and you know, like that's what a hobby is, right? Something you do to have fun. But now I'm on this cusp, just like I was on the cusp with this vlog, right? Like, I had my editor lined up, I had all the supplies, I had the ideas written down, I had things sketched out, everything was perfect, right? I just had to do it. And it took me weeks now. I think I had told my editor probably 3, 4, 5 different times, like, I will have that video for you today. I swear, I promise, I'm setting it up right now. I'll have it to you. And then like a couple hours later, I'm like, oh, Corey, I didn't do it. I'm so sorry, you know, and that's kind of how my fighting feels like it's happening, right? Like, I haven't got to that point yet, because I haven't been like, oh, I'm going to fight this event and then not fight this event. But like, that's always the thought in the back, at least my head. This is me. This is Tina playing the persona of Bryn. This is my own thoughts, my own experiences, my own trauma going into this, my own you know, mental gymnastics going into this. You know, everyone's journey is different. Like, this is a huge disclaimer. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's thought process is different. Everyone reacts differently to their journey in the SCA, especially, you know, with heavy fighting, only because that's what I know. That's another thing, guys. Like, please don't come at me. Because heavy fighting right now is all I know. I have not really dabbled at all in any of the arts or sciences. I haven't even dabbled in any of the other fencing, combat archery, nothing. Like, I haven't touched or even looked into anything. So please keep that in mind. I am not a professional. I did this like for 2 years, 5-6 years ago, you know what I mean? And even then I was just such a baby in the knowledge, and now coming back, I'm still such a baby with the knowledge. So this is just kind of my mental gymnastics. Some things that I feel that have been really helpful so far to get me to this point of just getting back into the SCA, to go to events and to even take my armor out. Like, that's all I've done so far, is I've gone to like 2 events now, and I wear just normal garb, and I've only taken my armor out of the box. Like, my helmet isn't even padded right now. Every single day, I'm like, oh, you know, like, I know this event's coming up, and I told my knight I would be there, and I told others that I would be there, and because it's like the first fighting event, you know, and they know I want to get back into fighting, there's this expectation that I am going to be fighting, but am I going to be ready to fight? And like, you know, should I just avoid conversations altogether because I don't want to let people down? Or should I tell them that I'm going to fight to force myself to fight? You know, like, that's another thing that is super common, and I don't know yet if it's helpful or hurtful yet. Pressuring you into agreeing that you'll like do an event, do a fight, and then people like being like, hey, can't wait to see you at that event. Hey, you ready to fight? I can't wait to see you on the field again. Like, and all of this comes from such a loving, caring place, because it's like a lot of your friends, right? And they are like, hey, I just want to motivate my friend to get back into fighting and support them and hype them up. But the entire time I'm like, oh my God, like, all these people are so excited, and like, oh my God, I don't even remember how to do my chin strap. Like, what is going on? And that's embarrassing. So you have this like hype bubble building, and you just don't want to be the one to burst it, right? So that's another thing I've been really communicating, like, to my knight, to my fellow fighters around me, is like, hey, I'm gonna go my pace, okay? I am excited to, and I can't wait to, but I need you to respect my pacing, right? Like, I've already been invited to practices. I've already been invited to like small fighting events, and I have declined them as of now because I'm not ready, right? Like, you know, I'm just not ready mentally or physically. If you are not like in your gear and fighting, you're not gonna fight. Like, you're going to find some excuse not to fight. You're going to scare yourself and not fight. You know what I mean? And people just think like, you know, just get on the horse and ride. Just get on the horse and ride. Get back on the horse and ride. And and once again, that's where I'm trying to find out like what's helpful, what's hurtful, right? Like, there is something to that where it's like, okay, just get your gear on and like, let's go. But I think like, especially as of right now, like, it would almost be unsafe for me right now. Like, a lot of I have not fought, let me remind people, in a good 4 or 5 years. I am extremely lucky that I still have an entire full set of armor. I'm gonna take the time. I will order the right padding. I will oil my chin strap because my chin strap is so rock hard leather and it like cuts up my chin so bad. So that's what I'm doing right now while I'm talking to you guys. I'm leathering this chin strap, right? So I am using like some really special leather conditioner. It's really important. It's imported. I'm actually applying it in this direction. I'm going nice and slow, making sure it's getting into every crevice. And I just want you to understand that I have no idea what I'm talking about at all, even a little bit. I don't even know if I should be doing this, right? Like, you know, my knight is probably gonna see this and like this video and message me and be like, what are you doing? Don't use that, or don't condition the leather. It'll, I don't know, stretch and not be as safe. I don't know, right? But like, I don't know. Like, my gut is just telling me like, it needs to be conditioned because it's like rock hard. Anyway, I am still learning too. I need people. I don't need people. I I don't need people. I don't need people to like go slow with me, because like that's not their responsibility to understand like what's triggering me, what's scaring me. It is my responsibility to communicate that, right? I'm a completely different person than I was when I started, you know, 7 years ago. Actually, you know what? I've been in the SCA for closer to 10 years and I don't know shit. I don't know anything. I'm learning something every single day and I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like I'm still enjoying it. You know, that's why I enjoy this hobby so much, but it's up. People don't realize that, and it's my responsibility to communicate that. I've just been telling people like, hey, like listen, like this is my journey, this is the pacing I'm going. There is already a lot of pressure. I'm putting a lot of pressure on it myself. It is good to also be realistic that like maybe sometimes like parts of a hobby just aren't for you, and that's okay too. That's okay too. It doesn't mean that you failed or you're not good enough. It just means that it just wasn't for you. And like, that's the beautiful thing, especially about the SCA, is that there's so much to do, right? Like if you still even want to be involved in combat, you know, in combat, I say almost, because like there's, you know, the heavy fighting, the fencing, the combat archery. And then outside of that, you know, you have like the throwing knives and then the target archery. And then that's like, you know, and there's even more with all of that. On top of that, then you have the arts and sciences, which is like, I'm not even gonna pretend to list some of them off. I don't know anything about that yet. I would like to, and that will be part of my journey, but I just don't know that yet. So it's not a bad thing if you're like, hey, like I really like the SCA, but you know, fighting isn't for me. Fighting is definitely for me. So is vlogging. I really enjoy doing it. So that's why I'm kind of excited about this project, is because I'm gonna combine the two loves, but also two of my biggest fears. And we're just gonna kind of go through this together. I've surrounded myself with very supportive and loving people, which I think is very important, very, very important. The number one tip from me to people getting back into a hobby, getting back into weight loss, getting back into weight training, getting back, I don't know, anything, honestly, anything, is surround yourself with people that you feel comfortable enough to communicate with. I think that is so important. People are like, oh, surround yourself with people that are gonna motivate you and teach you. And yes, that too. But I think especially in the beginning, it is the most important, like to really kind of stress communication. Communication is just so important because, you know, that's the beginning of like, you're the boss, you're in charge. I love my knight. My knight is literally my dad outside of my dad. He's like my chosen dad, let's say. He motivates me, he inspires me, he is a badass. I am comfortable enough to be able to go to him and be like, hey, I'm not comfortable doing this. And that's huge because, especially as a woman in a very male-dominated environment in a hobby, I second guess myself a lot. Like, oh, are the guys gonna think I'm a wuss? Are they gonna think like I'm a whiny girl? Or, you know, or am I just being emotional? You know, so like those thoughts do go through my head. Once again, these are my personal thoughts and experiences. Not every woman may feel this way. I hate saying this, that my knight is scary enough to motivate me, because that was one of the reasons why I asked him to be my knight. And, you know, something I'll go into deeper was like, he's just badass. And when he gets in that headspace, you know, and you're like, yo, you do not want to get in that guy's way. Like, he's gonna mess you up. I wanted that. I wanted that for myself. I needed a mentor that I was almost a little like intimidated by, because I have a very strong personality and I will push and get away with a lot of bullshit, right? Like, once somebody knows me, he can also tell when he should push me, you know? But that, once again, that goes back to because we have been friends now, oh my God, for 8 years. We've been in very stressful situations. You know, when you fight with someone, you get put in situations that people just don't understand. When you're in that headspace of like kill or be killed, you know, even though it's a game, it's very different, you know, it's very, very different. You go into a very different headspace and you build relationships with people that you normally would not build in that sort of way, right? Like, when you know that somebody has your back to not get killed, like, I don't know, it's just a whole nother level. I think a lot of people in life, just in their friendships and relationships, should be that if somebody is coming to you for help, especially to get motivated into a hobby again, you know, you don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to be a professional. That person just doesn't want to be alone. You know, that person just wants somebody to be next to them and be like, hey, I don't know the answer to that question, but we're gonna figure it out together. That's been my big thing with me getting into fighting, is I'm just communicating people the pace I want to do. You know, I will let them know when I am ready to fight, you know, when my gear is ready, and my knight will make sure over and over that my gear is ready. You know, I am very thankful to be around quite a few knights that are very protective, and they'll, you know, double, triple, quadruple check everything, as the people around you should. Like, this is still a very dangerous sport. You can die. So like, let's not, you know, tiptoe around that. Like, this is a serious thing. Like, you are taking baseball bat swings to your head. That's not something to not take seriously. So I kind of went off on like a little tangent. I just want to thank you guys for being with me on this journey. My hope and dream is to be able to produce content throughout my entire journey, right? Now, I wouldn't be an actual YouTuber if I didn't promise a certain amount of content and then completely not deliver that. So we're gonna get ahead of that, and I'm not gonna promise any sort of pacing to my content. I'm just gonna kind of like go with the flow, and that's kind of what I'm gonna do with the fighting, is like, you know what? I feel really motivated to get my armor up to snuff. Even if it's ready, will I fight in the next fighting event? I don't know. I'll see. I'll see. Right now, I don't want to, because I mean, like, I go up a flight of stairs and I'm like dying. I can't imagine running around in my armor, right? So, you know, but at the same time too, like, you know I will also never be in the perfect shape for heavy fighting, right? Like that's just unattainable to a certain degree, because I will just keep like moving the goalposts, right? And I'll communicate that to my knight. I will communicate that to the people around me that love me, that want to motivate me and inspire me. And I will be honest. I will say, you know, like, raising this bar is stressful, and I thank you and I appreciate you that you in your way is trying to motivate me, because you don't want me to be afraid to fight. You don't want me to like wuss out or like procrastinate. I understand. I really do understand. I understand the reasoning, right? Like, you know, I always joke, don't bring logic into this conversation. Like, I understand. If you're getting back into heavy fighting especially, like, the only person's opinion and thought and experience that matters is you. Is absolutely you, because at the end of the day, that other person is gonna go home, they're not gonna think about you, they're gonna do their own thing, they're gonna go to the next event, and they're just gonna focus on them. Like, that's just human nature, is being very selfish in your thought process of, you know, of your life. So, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of go in and understand people are going to try to motivate you, they're gonna try to talk to you and convince you, like, oh, like, you know, you better be in armor next event, like, oh, you're putting it off, you're scared to fight. And you know what? Like, if you are, say, yeah, I am, because I think that should be something that is a little bit more conveyed, a little bit more conversated about, is like, fighting isn't all or nothing. There should be able to have a moment of just kind of like prep and taking it in and practice and, you know, getting yourself mentally and physically ready. And with that, look how soft and supple this is. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, so like I was saying, you know, I don't know what kind of content is going to come out or at what pacing, but you know what? I just want to thank you all for this. I'm going to continue getting my helmet ready, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.